It seems to me the root of this is unsound money, and we've got ourselves into a situation where money has been monopolised by central banks, and their only solution to any problem now, and the problems have become so great, the only solution they have is to produce more and more fiat money. Do you feel that this is, if you like, central to the whole problem, or is it just part of the whole thing?
You go back to our Trends Journal, and you go back to 2001. We called the beginning of the gold bull run.
Yes.
We missed it by about $25. I pegged it at $275.
Well, that's pretty accurate.
Yeah, gold went down to about $255.
Indeed.
Yeah. And I realized why it would happen.
Yes.
Again, let's go back to 1987. The stock market crashes.
Yes.
Boom. What do? Greenspan's
I remember it well. Yeah.
They start pumping money into the system.
Yes, indeed.
Then what do? We go through the bubble of the 90s with the whole dot-com boom.
Yeah.
And what do they do from there? What they do from there is 9/11 happens.
Yes.
And all of a sudden we're in a recession, and then they started lowering interest rates to 46-year lows.
Yes.
They call it loose money policy. Adults call it cheap money.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
The more you print, the cheaper it gets.
Yes, that's right.
The more of anything, tulips or dollars. You keep mass producing them, these digital dollars that aren't worth the money, they're not printed on, and that's what happens. Now let's go what happened now. The markets, we have the panic of 2008. What happens? China?
Yes.
The EU?
Yes.
The US?
Yep.
Everybody gets the printing presses going.
Absolutely.
They call it stimulus.
Yeah.
I call it keeping the Ponzi scheme going.
Yes, exactly. But it was not just the Ponzi scheme. That by then they'd got into the situation where if they didn't print loads and loads of money, the banks would fall over and the ATMs would stop working. So, you know, you've now got a debt trap, which it seems to me there is virtually no visible means of escaping. And all governments seem to have got themselves into this debt trap.
Exactly. That's the Ponzi scheme, the debt trap, to keep it going.
Yes.
To keep it going, keep it going, keep it going, keep it going. It's not kicking the can down the road. It's keep printing cheap money
to keep
it going.
Yes.
No, I agree 100%. And that's why I'm saying when all else fails, they take you to war.
Yes.
Go back. Let's play history and move it forward. The crash of 1929. The Great Depression, currency wars,
yes,
trade wars,
yes,
world war,
yep,
the Panic of '08, the Great Recession / Depression. If you're living in Spain, you're living in Greece, you're living in a lot of countries, you're in depression.
Yes.
Look at housing prices in the United States. They fell worse than Great Depression levels, and that's what buoyed this phony economy throughout the whole decade of 2000.
Of course.
And then now they're down to below depression levels.
Yes.
Now what's going on? The currency wars. That it would always be safe to deal with the Swiss because it was all about money. Now even they've caved in.
Absolutely.
Even they've caved in, and now we're making their money worthless by pegging it to the euro. So then when you look what's going on, there's no... I love it. I love the news. I love the news. Angela Merkel and Sarkozy are going to get together next week and put their heads together and come up with a solution. Yeah, how about Laurel and Hardy?
Yeah, exactly.
You know, what makes these people? They're going to come up with a solution.
Yeah.
The solution they're going to come up with is what big lie can we tell and how much money could we print so that the people actually believe we're solving the problem. There's no way out.
Well, you're mentioning Euroland, I find, is an interesting case because there is a disconnect between what the European Central Bank can do to help governments cover their deficits compared with, let us say, the Fed or the Bank of England. In other words, they can't indulge in QE. So you've got the situation there where countries who are spending beyond their means cannot cover it without really cutting their spending. And they are so reluctant to do that. They are just hanging on, hoping that the ECB will start printing money and save them. But it's not going to happen as far as I can see, because the ECB has got a huge problem stopping the banking system falling over, and it can't do both at the same time.
You look at the collapse of Dexia.
Yes.
Look what it's costing Belgium to bail them out.
I know, and that was passed by the regulators as being a sound bank.
Yes.
Literally just a couple of months before.
Stress test.
Yes, exactly.
I guess they crack under pressure really easy.
Amazing.
Yeah. So what you're looking at, for example, a country like just Belgium with one bank.
Yes.
It's equal to 17% of their GDP.
Well, and not only that, but Belgium's debt to GDP ratio is, I mean, they're way over 100%. Yeah. And France, I can't remember what the figure is, but it's not too far behind. But even with France, that's 2% of their GDP. Yes. That's just one bank. Yes.
And this whole fallacy, we have to save the banks. We have to save the banks. Let them fail.
Yeah.
Let them fail.
But then you get the, if you start letting banks fail, don't you get an escalation of the systemic problem, and then everybody else starts failing. Now, I know that there is, if you like, a very strong moral case. There is a very strong, if you like, libertarian case for that to happen. But can you ever see the politicians allowing that to happen?
Politicians will never do that.
Yeah, that's true.
No, so what I'm saying is, to answer your question, if the banks started failing and we started getting back to more reality, only then will the fiat currencies have any value of any kind.
Yes.
But if they just keep pumping more and more phony money into the system to keep the banks from failing...
It's just an open checkbook.
Exactly.
It's an open checkbook.
So they keep devaluing,